Forget your usual thriller pacing. Today we're diving into Netflix's A House of Dynamite. This is a political thriller where everything, the whole potential catastrophe, unfolds in just 18 minutes. Real time. We're basically giving you the shortcut to understanding why critics are saying this thing is a defining modern film.
Yeah, what jumps out right away is the talent involved. You got Kathryn Bigelow, Academy Award winner, directing. She's just masterful at that nerve-shredding realism. And then Idris Elba, Rebecca Ferguson starring. This isn't just, spectacle. It's serious filmmaking,
Yeah.
tackling a really immediate, terrifying scenario.
Right. And the premise hits you instantly. A rogue ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile, is detected. It's locked on the U.S. And that kicks off this live 18-minute countdown to potential impact. The sources we looked at really emphasize that the film focuses hard on the human decisions, maybe not so much the explosions.
Exactly. And that focus is built into the structure. That 18-minute window from seeing the blip on the screen to potential impact. That time limit is the antagonist, in a way. It locks you, the viewer, right there in the command room. You're watching them grapple with these massive questions. Is this real? Is it a mistake? A false flag? Do we retaliate now?
It definitely sounds gripping, but is there a risk that the real-time thing feels, I don't know, like a gimmick? Or does Bigelow manage to make it about more than just, geopolitical chess?
Oh, it absolutely elevates it. Bigelow's shifting her focus here. We saw the kinetic energy of combat in the Hurt Locker. Right?
Yeah.
Here she moves into the kind of paralyzing tension of the command bunker.
Yeah.
She's showing that the real explosions, the critical moments, happen in these seconds before a decision locks in.
Mm-hmm.
And cinematographer Barry Ackroyd supports this big time. His style is very handheld, very documentary-like. It just grounds everything in this frightening realism. You feel that rising panic.
And that pressure, it seems, lands squarely on Idris Elba as President Samuel Hayes. He's got this crushing moral weight on him, knowing he might have to give the order, the nuclear strike order, based on information that's coming in super fast, maybe even flawed.
Yeah, his performance is getting rave reviews. They're calling it career-defining. He has to show that authority, but also the human vulnerability underneath. But the real emotional anchor, maybe the analytical one too, is Rebecca Ferguson. She plays Captain Olivia Walker. She's a communications officer at STRATCOM, that's U.S. Strategic Command, the nerve center for nuclear operations. And crucially, she's one of the few people immediately questioning the intelligence, asking, are we sure?
Okay, so Elba is the awful power, the final decision point in the Oval Office, and Ferguson is maybe the conscience, the critical eye trying to cut through the noise and the fear.
Precisely. She gives the audience permission to doubt along with her. It reminds you that in these unbelievably high-stakes moments, the initial truth is often just, well, it's an assumption made under intense pressure. And that dynamic leads us straight into the film's core theme.
Right, the title itself, A House of Dynamite. That's quite a metaphor. Suggests world peace isn't stable, but it's this fragile structure built on, deterrence, trust, and the constant terrifying threat of it all blowing up.
Exactly. And connecting that to the bigger picture, the whole film seems concerned with this idea of the illusion of control. Notice how they deliberately avoid naming a specific enemy nation, because the real enemy, the film suggests, is actually flawed communication, human error, system breakdown. It really highlights how easily a catastrophe can be triggered, not by ideology, necessarily, but by something as simple as, say, a corrupted data packet, a sensor glitch. The complexity of our global defense systems means the biggest threat might actually be an internal failure, not an external enemy.
So what's the takeaway for you watching this?
Well, the critics have certainly had their say. It got a huge, 9-minute standing ovation at the Venice Film Festival. They're calling it a nerve-rattling masterclass. Seems like proof that smart thrillers, ones built on tension and ethical questions, are definitely making a comeback.
And for anyone ready to see Elba and Ferguson navigate this crisis in real time, you can. The worldwide premiere on Netflix is set for October 24, 2025. So, yeah, mark your calendars for that one.
It really sounds like it's going to be one of the most talked about films of the year. Serious ideas wrapped up in some incredibly intense suspense.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. The sources suggest the next huge global conflict might not start with a declaration of war or some big political showdown. It might just begin with a single misinterpreted signal. Think about that in a crisis, how fear and bad information could just spread way faster than the actual truth. That rush to judgment. Maybe that's the most dangerous weapon we have.